Hi everyone, this is one video in a series where I'm going to show you how to make textures and also how I use them. So this one is going to be using Illustrator to show you how I make a rough kind of guideline structure so that when I draw things in Photoshop I have the angles and the size right, and it's just a way for me to quickly mess around with sizes and scalings before spending too much time drawing them, which is a bit more time consuming. With this I can just stretch and scale things using the vector that is in Illustrator. Not everyone has this program, I know, but it's something that I was using a lot when I used to do vector illustration, so it's useful for me and I thought I'd show you anyway. And here's the useful tool. I did that a little bit quickly. I went to Effect, 3D, Extrude and Bevel, and what that's going to do is I'm going to change these boxes I just drew into walls of my cottage. So this one wants to be isometric right, because that's the direction I'm going to have this cottage in. This extrude length isn't too important on this because these are going to be walls used to make up a box. I could do it really long and just have the box be the shape of the, I'm gesturing at the screen, you can't see that. Just have the box be the whole shape of the cottage, but if I do each wall individually, that gives me more options if I decide to make the house more complicated later, and with changing the which layer is which, if things need to be on top of each other or not. Instead of doing that twice, I can just duplicate this layer and that'll be my two end walls. We probably won't see this back one at all, but I'll put it there while I'm building just so I know what I'm doing. Go back and do this again with the front side. And this time, I'll put preview on so you can see what's happening. This time I want it to be isometric left. There we go. And instead of applying to these ones, you know what, I'm just going to duplicate these and make them much smaller, and then adjust the heights, as this is going to be like a porch or a portico that goes on the front of the cottage. So I'm just going to line these up now and see if it's the kind of scale I want. I'm also going to I was going to turn off these black lines, but they're actually quite useful to see where the edges are and so on. This is just rough. I'm not lining up and making it super precise or anything, because it is just a visual aid, a little guide for me when I get started in Photoshop. So here I'm going to get rid of that back one because we don't need it, we don't see that side. Let's see, that's a bit tall for a porch, I think, so make the whole thing a bit smaller. Yeah, I can see that working. It's a little cottage. Okay, now to go with this, you need to add a roof. I'm going to make this a bit deeper, I think. Just a smidgen. Maybe a bit more. Yeah, that looks kind of cottage aspect ratio to me. I'll get rid of that wall, I don't need it. Okay, now I need to add a roof. So to do that, I'm going to make just a long line here. Oops. And then I was researching this just a bit earlier. Thatched roofs apparently are supposed to be at around 50 degrees to get the best runoff and not get saturated with water, so I'll make it about that. Oops. And I probably want it a bit shorter, but we'll mess with that after I've applied this. Again, extrude and bevel. And yep, isometric left is what we want. And make it way longer. Hang on a minute. Not isometric left. Isometric right, there we go. Make it roughly the length of the house. I'm going to take off this black stroke so that it's a bit clearer. And this seems too tall and too long. Let's see. Yeah, it wants to be a lot shorter than that, so I'll go back to the appearance, double click on the Extrude and Bevel, and here comes the options again. Throw up the preview again so I can see what I'm doing, and then that looks about right. So I've just tweaked it a little bit. Then what I'm going to do is duplicate it, select the one that's behind, and transform, reflect, so it slopes the other way, but the isometric angle is still correct. I'll just line it up with the roof here. Now, let's see, I think I need to shrink it a little bit so that it fits on. But that looks about right to me. Close enough. I think one thing I am going to add, two things I'm going to add actually. I'm going to duplicate this. It's lagging a little bit, it's going slow. I need to preview to judge this by eye. Let's see, how deep is my porch? Not very deep. So I'll put it like that. Oops, I needed to do another thing. It's coming back. So instead of isometric right, because the porch is the other way around, I'll flip it to isometric left. Okay, it looks weird, but we'll fix it. Shrink the whole thing down. And then let's place these on here. So there's one. Oops, don't want to rotate it or it'll look wrong. And let's make these much smaller again. Well, actually, maybe not much smaller. Yeah, about that. This one needs to go behind. So I'll just adjust that and do that move. And let's see. No, it needs to go a bit further behind, doesn't it? Yeah, that looks about right. Maybe they could be a bit deeper and it could hang over the front of the door so you don't get wet when you try to come in the door. That makes sense to me. Turn the preview back on and make it just a little bit deeper. And then nudge it forwards so that it lines up about right. Yeah, that looks okay to me. I think one extra thing I will add is a chimney. I think I'll do that easiest by just duplicating this doorway, making it tall, bringing it to the front. Now obviously this is way wrong, but we'll adjust it again when it shows up. Here it is. And I think the easiest way will be just to make it, go the other direction. And no, that's too much, but a little bit deeper than it was. Yeah, like that. You could make this a bit fancier, have it a bit more shaped, but we'll just make it simple, I think, for this. Simple chimney on the edge. Make it a little bit taller. And let's see, give it two chimney pots. So I'll use a circle for that. You could do the same thing as what I've been doing. Effect, Bevel and Extrude. Here's the dialogue. Now, it does not need to be that long, that's for sure. And we don't want isometric left or right this time, we want isometric top, because the circle is the top of it and it gives you the correct shape. And I'll make it a little smaller. I don't know if chimneys usually have two little pots on top or one, but I'm going to go with two. We took the shadow off, moved it behind, and there we go. Simple and effective. Didn't take very long. What is it? About 5 minutes? 10 minutes. Okay, I underestimated. And I'm going to just, last thing I'm going to do is change this colour, simply so that it stands out, the difference here. Okay, and now we'll use this in one of our next videos. So look out for that.